Welcome. Emery with your host, Ryan Lee, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing, we discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in the world. It's Lighting for Profits, presented by Emery Allen. We got Emery Allen in the studio live today. That's right, we got a new sponsor. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. I'm Ryan Lee. I'm your host of Lighting for Profits here on Turfs Up Radio, and so excited to have you here. It's going to be a wicked good show. I'm actually nervous for the first time doing this show because I've got a live guest. I mean, that's probably not true. I was probably nervous the first time, but now I'm like especially nervous because I'm like, man, I figured out how to interview people remotely, but how do I interview people in the studio? So we've got a different view. Welcome to the Landscape Lighting Secrets studio here in Orem, Utah now. I moved from Lehigh to Orem. And just the studios. But yeah, guys, I'm super excited. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, then you're definitely in the right place. And again, super excited to welcome a new sponsor to Turfs Up Radio, to Lighting for Profits. It's our first partnership here on Lighting for Profits, and it is Emery Allen, LED miniature bulbs, or lamps, excuse me. Sheesh, I already lost that deal. Yeah, it was a good run. So listen, I want to thank you guys for your support. We got a different view, okay, and that's to accommodate my guest inside the studio, and we're going to welcome him on in a minute. Our guest this week is the CEO of Emery Allen, Mr. Tom Garber. So Tom, he can't say hi yet, but he can wave. So he's here with us. I want to thank you guys for listening live on Turfs Up Radio. If you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, or you're listening to the podcast, I want to thank you guys so much for your support. And Tom and I were actually talking earlier, and he's like, hey, why didn't you accept my invite to the Landscape Lighting Secrets Facebook group? Well, I not only denied him access, but I've denied a lot of people access because it's only for paid members of the Landscape Lighting Secrets coaching program. But if you're looking for an additional resource, you're looking for an additional group, Landscape Lighting Mastermind is my free Facebook group. So go ahead and go join that, and contribute to the conversation. This is a community we're building, and I don't have all the answers. I never have, never going to, but all of us together can help each other out. So go join that group. And again, we're going to have Mr. Tom Garber, the CEO of Emery Allen, our new sponsor here on Lighting for Profits. So before we unmute his microphone, he's got to earn his spot here. And I told him if he's on good behavior, we'll unmute his microphone and then we can have him on. But before we do that, and by the way, he's been great. I've learned a ton this morning. We've had our meetings and talked a lot about his business and his experience and everything. And you guys are absolutely going to love it. But before we have him on, I want to talk about something that you guys know that I'm super passionate about. And at this point, you might be even sick and tired of hearing about it, but I don't care because it's my show and I can talk about whatever I want, okay? And we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about pricing because most people don't understand pricing is one of the easiest ways to increase profitability in your business without having to really invest in anything else. Like, you don't have to hire more people. You don't have to grow in that sense. You don't have to buy more trucks. Heck, you don't even have to hire me. You literally don't have to do anything but just raise your price. And so my goal, my mission in life now is to help everybody make more money. And it's not so you can be greedy and go buy boats and mansions and stuff. And if you want to, that's fine. But it's so you can give back. You can give back to your family. You can give back to your employees. You can give back to your customers and provide them with higher quality equipment. Obviously, we've got Emery Allen here today. We're going to talk about what makes them different in the marketplace. But you can then afford to use better equipment, a better product. You can afford to service that client and really take care of them. And here's the thing. Most people, when they're selling something, they tend to sell like they buy. And I've been guilty of this. I feel like everybody is. So you'll say things like, well, I don't want to sell like that because when I buy like that, I don't want someone to pressure me, or I don't do that, or I need to think about it. And honestly, that's just completely wrong. I used to sell like I buy. And so I've got some tips for you guys. But honestly, when you're selling, you think that people buy on price, right? Most people, when they say, I'm all like, well, why didn't you get that deal? Oh, they said I was, too expensive, or, the other guy was cheaper. I mean, that's fine. Like, that's what people say, but that's not the real reason. Like, people don't buy on price. They buy on value. It really has nothing to do with price, guys. And I know that you're probably like, no, because I just lost a deal and they said it was because of price. It's like, okay, I understand that too. But honestly, it wasn't price. It was because of value. You didn't build enough value. If you would have built enough value, they would have bought from you. But they didn't see the value in buying from you. So they lied to you and told you it was because of price. It was really because they didn't like you, or they didn't like the way you looked. Okay. It was something else besides price. So here's a couple of tips for you. There's really two ways to increase value. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to lower our price. We're not trying to just do everything we can to get the deal. We're trying to increase values. If we increase value, we're going to get the deal. So there's one way to increase value, and that's decrease price, which that sucks. That's like the easy way out. Don't do that. I mean, that really is like, well, I'm not smart enough to figure out how else to build value, so I'll just decrease my price. And if you look at any industry, and landscape lighting is no different, how many new landscape lighting companies are coming in? When I was in Dallas, I mean, it was like every year a new company, a new sticker, and then they only last 12 to 18 months and they're gone. Like, what happened? I guarantee they were not charging enough. They did not do a good enough job presenting their value. And so I want to encourage you guys to not decrease your price, but increase your offering. That's the second way. So the first way to increase value is decrease your price. Don't do that. The second one is increase your offering, increase the value, right? And I promise you this, if you can add more value than you take in payment, you'll have a thriving business that can withstand any shortcoming that presents itself. And I truly believe in that. Whatever you want to charge, we sometimes people sell by the light, whatever. If you want to charge $500 a light, hell, if you want to charge $1,000 a light, do that. But just make sure you're over delivering, that you are delivering more in value than you take in payment, and you're going to have a thriving business, because not only will that customer be satisfied, they're going to rehire you. You did the front yard now, they're going to have you do the backyard later. They're going to do the lake house later. They're going to get richer. They're going to buy a bigger house. That's what happens. When I first started landscape lighting, I thought, man, maybe this isn't the best business, because it's kind of a one-time sell. Maybe I should get into a residual business. And what I didn't realize is, man, this is a residual business. I remember like, wow, I thought that one $5,000 job from the Smiths was it. But then all of a sudden they called me back and they added a few more lights in the front yard. And then 6 months later, they call me back and deck out the backyard. Then they refer me. And then again, they get richer. They go to their bigger house. That $5,000 job turns into a $20,000 job. So it's very much a residual business if you are taking care of your clients. And most of the time, you cannot take care of your clients if you're not charging enough money. So make sure your pricing reflects really who you are and what you can deliver. A lot of contractors complain about their clients and like, oh man, they this, that, and the other. It's like, you know what? That problem can go away if you charge enough to handle the things that they're telling you they need and expect. Then everything's fine, because you've got a system now in place that you can afford to take care of that client. So rather than complaining about the problems, find solutions. And I promise you, this pricing thing solves a lot of problems. So in a minute, I'm going to ask Tom and see if he agrees with me. Maybe he's going to be like, dude, this guy's nuts. What are you talking about? You need to decrease your price, and here's why. But we'll find out. Listen, guys, I'm going to say this again. The fastest and easiest way to grow your business is by raising your price. It's the fastest, the easiest. Just raise your price, guys. And listen, I'm not asking you to raise it by $200 a light or $500 a light, or just raise it by 10%. Like, that's so easy to do. If you're charging $250 a light, raise it by $25. You're not even going to notice anything different. Your same customers are going to buy from you. the same people that weren't going to buy from you still aren't going to buy from you. All you're going to do is just make more money. So, if you want to send me a commission, that's fine. I'll get you my address, support@ryanleecoaching.com. You can pay me royalties, whatever, or just invest it back in your business like I'm trying to get you to do. So, this year was unlike any other. There's one thing we're going to talk about is supply chain and stuff like that. And expenses are going through the roof. So if you guys haven't raised your prices just to stay afloat this year, then this is a whole nother conversation. When I'm talking about raising your prices is above and beyond any price increase you did this year just to cover the additional expenses. And remember, you're doing this for the right reason. You're doing this to sustain your ecosystem that you've built. A lot of people are relying on you, your family, your employees, your clients, the local economy. Think about the impact that one little business has, even if it's just you and like one helper or two, whatever, like that money that you generate goes out to your employee and their families, and they go to the local restaurants and the local stores and all the manufacturers and the distributors. All these people and their families are affected by one little tiny landscape lighting business. So remember, people are relying on you. You can't afford to go out of business. You can't afford not to raise your price. So take my advice and do that if you guys would be so inclined. And by the way, if you guys have an experience where you're like, dude, I did that, share it with me. I'd love to hear it. So go into the Landscape Lighting Mastermind and share your experience. I'd love to hear about your guys' experiences and how their things are going. And if you take my advice and you're like, hey, Ryan, that sucked, I raised my price and I lost my deal, then shoot me a message because we'll talk through that. I'll help you out. That should not be happening, but let me know. I'm open to feedback, both good and bad. All right, guys, that was a lot. I was trying to cram. I had these thoughts in my mind 2 days ago, and I felt like I'm inspired. I got to tell, like, somebody out there needs to hear this. So I wanted to kind of cram that in before we have Tom on, and hopefully one of you out there got something from that and can take it away. So yeah, guys, we're going to just take a little super short break, and we're going to be right back with Tom Garber, the CEO of Emery Allen, our newest and first and only sponsor here on Lighting for Profits. So we'll be right back.
We want to thank the lawn and landscape community for making GIE Plus Expo their place to reunite as an industry. Like a family reunion, thousands of dealers, landscape pros, and contractors return annually to network, share ideas, learn best practices, and make new friends. It all starts Wednesday, October 20th with the opening reception and continues into the night with free concerts in downtown Louisville. At the show, you'll have the opportunity to share experiences and brainstorm new approaches to your business challenges with friends and like-minded professionals. You don't want to miss the opening keynote, Secrets of Being an Effective Leader, presented by retired Navy 4-star Admiral James Stavridis. Register now at GIE-expo.com, and we'll see you October 20th through the 22nd in Louisville.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
Hey everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of The Green Veteran here on Turf's Up Radio. Be sure to check me out every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You're going to hear some great one-on-one interviews with green industry professionals. We're going to talk about best business practices, highlight innovative products, and also provide some insight into some new emerging technologies in the field. That's The Green Veteran, airing each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember, Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
All All right. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits here on Turfs Up Radio, presented by Emery Allen. And guys, I told you at the beginning, I really am nervous because I feel like I'm already got a lot of buttons to click. And then now I feel like there's more to click, but there's not, just because I have a live guest. So I want to welcome my first live guest. Welcome to the studio, Tom Garber.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm super excited for a lot of reasons. But one, I'm thankful for your guys' support for being our one of our sponsor, or our sponsor here on Turfs Up Radio on Lighting for Profits. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coming out here. It was kind of I mean, we were talking before, we don't necessarily both believe in coincidences, but it was one of those things where I had Tom slated to be my guest this week anyway. And then he's like, well, hey, why don't I just come out? I was going to come out there anyway. Why don't I just come out there? And so now we've got our first live guest, which is cool. It's nerve wracking. You're making me nervous, Tom.
I'm the last person that should make you nervous.
It's not you. It's the like, okay, does the camera work and the mics and everything else? Like I said, I had it figured out for people remotely, but I'm like, oh crap, he's come in. Like, how do I interview someone that is 4 feet away from me? So, how have you been? Thanks for flying in, man.
Been great. Been very good.
Well, I want to just tell people before I start kind of grilling you with questions, I want to tell people how we met. When I started this podcast, radio, everything with Turfs Up Radio, Darren, he like runs, it's like he owns Turfs Up Radio. He's like, yeah, you should do it and call it Light It Up and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, cool. So I didn't really think about the podcast because it was too overwhelming to even think about it. So I was like, well, I'm just going to start with the show and whatnot. So then when I go to launch the podcast, I did it actually. And I go to search for it. And all of a sudden there's like a podcast already. And it's called Light It Up. And I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, oh my gosh, who doesn't do their homework and research? So I go and do that. And I had to call Tom. I got his number from Andy Thomas because he had just been interviewed on your podcast. And I had to call Tom like, hey, Tom, you don't know me, but I just started a podcast called Light It Up. And luckily he was a nice guy and he was like, okay. And, didn't chew me out or anything. But so at that point I was like 1 or 2 episodes in. So I changed it to Lighting for Profits. And, what was interesting and why I bring this up is because up until then, honestly, I had never heard of Emery Allen, and Andy had brought it up. Oh, he's the CEO of Emery Allen. I'm like, what is an Emery Allen? Well, I had no idea that you guys, manufactured lamps. So let's talk about that. Like why didn't I know about Emery Allen and, like how long you've been around, and let's talk about your history here.
We started Emery Allen about 7 years ago. And when we started, there were a lot of problems that needed to be solved in the lighting industry. Problems that mostly existed in interior residential decorative lighting with G9 products, G8 products, other types of products that people just didn't handle well. And it was a great opportunity for us, always been a problem solver, always like challenges and those types of things. And it was a great opportunity for us to start a company specifically and strategically about miniature lighting products, light bulbs. Our bulbs will replace basically every miniature halogen lamp that's on the market today. That was our goal and all of that.
Okay. So why, I guess, you've got, you're a mechanical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've been in the lighting industry. We were talking, it's over 30 years, 32 years.
32 years.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, I didn't even know what landscape lighting was until 2007. So that's 14 years,
Sure.
Why are you so passionate about that? Like the LED lamps specifically?
Throughout my career in, lighting, and I've always been in product development, engineering, manufacturing, and all of that. We've had to develop fixtures around different types of light sources. Nobody did it well. Even back to the halogen days, nobody did it well for miniature lamps, and more specifically miniature LED lamps. There was just a great opportunity for us, to develop products, specifically to meet the needs of, our customers in North America.
Okay, cool. So, and by the way, I mentioned that I had never heard of Emery Allen, and literally until I had to like embarrass myself and say, "Hey, I started a podcast and I copied your name." So that was not fun. But after that, I was actually just in Tampa at a Holiday Bright Lights, their event, and I was sitting at a table with a guy. And I had talked to him earlier, so I knew he was into landscape lighting. And then I just started asking more like, "Oh, what product do you use?" and stuff like that. And what was interesting, again, I had not heard of Emery Allen before. He's like, "Oh, yeah, we use Emery Allen," and I'm like, I was almost shocked, like I shouldn't be, but I'm like, dude, this is awesome. It's like when people they buy a yellow Jeep, and then everyone around them has a yellow Jeep. So I think that I'm going to start hearing more and more of that now that I'm familiar with it. So that was cool. That was cool. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to buy, we wouldn't buy any other lamp out there." So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that you would find us to be our name out there in the, interior decorative market. And then it was just a natural progression, because we did have to produce some low voltage bulbs for interiors, then to go and make some changes to our products to move outdoors and damp location and dimmability and all of this stuff. It was pretty easy for us to do. So, we've been doing this for, a short time, and, we look forward to it.
Yeah. So I guess that's where, how come you started with the interior? That's just where most of your contacts were out of the gate.
Yeah. And that's where I'm from, Kitchlers, the Quazels, and that's where, there's a lot more need for that type of product in the decorative end of things, and with bath lights and under cabinet and pendants and things like that. So it was just a lot easier. And then certainly, there was a huge need out in California with the California Energy Commission's Title 24, or JA8 as it's more known for, requirements for lighting products, both integrated and drop-in or retrofit products. And, we did a beeline on that, and we worked pretty aggressively for, I don't know, year and a half to develop a bulb and get it tested. And we were one of the first, still our miniature lamp that is approved for California's JA8 requirement. So that's where we really got started.
Yeah, that's cool. So like with a requirement like that, I'm not in California. Should I care if I'm in another state, or does that just give you like some street cred? Like, listen, if we can appease California, we can appease anyone type thing.
Well, and I've been asked by, several other people, why did you even care? It's just one state and all of that. And I think the thing that I tell people is, you might not care if you're living in Connecticut or Florida or wherever, but what it did for us is it made us a better company by being able to meet all of these stringent requirements for California. We just roll that into all of our bulbs across the board. So it's all about high power factor. It's all about no flicker. It's all about dimmability. We're one of the, only miniature lamps that are certified with Lutron products, Lutron dimmers. And it's just not one or two dimmers. It's like almost all of them across the board. And we only can claim credit for that because of, what we had to go through in order to obtain this whole J8 certification.
Yeah. Well, it was cool meeting this morning because, I'm not strictly business, but that's definitely my passion. Right. And so, I'm just like the people that are like really good at with design or install, they overlook the business aspect. I tend to overlook some of these other things, but it was interesting to talk to you about some of those tests that you have and stuff like that, to where, and you'll correct me my terrible terminology, but just the way that I don't know if it was the power factor or what that makes it so, like, if you have an Emery Allen lamp that is, advertised as a 7-watt lamp, well, the VA is 7, right? You have more lumens per watt, so I can actually go and put in many cases three lamps, Emery Allen lamps, on a run where you might only fit 2 on another manufacturer, right?
That's correct.
And so I'm like, well, why do I care about that? Like, I'm not really techie that way. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, no, that does matter, because that means less wire and things like that. I can
Smaller transformer. You don't need a 300 watt. You can get away with a 150 or a 75 watt or something like that.
Yeah. So I was grateful that we went over that stuff. Again, some of that stuff I'm like, wow, do I care? But no, from a business standpoint, I think you definitely do need to care.
Sure, absolutely.
So let me ask you, I don't know if it's a great debate, but there's fans out there that are like, oh, I love integrated. That's the way to go. That's the technology. Then there's people that are like, heck no, I'll never use that. I'm pro lamp. I know where you stand because you're a lamp manufacturer, but why? And why lamps versus integrated?
Where I think integrated does a really good job, if it's designed properly, is you'll have an LED board that will be mounted onto the fixture. And if it's designed properly, that fixture will act as a heat sink and help dissipate the heat out of that LED light engine. Well, the one thing that you can get, if it's designed properly, out of an integrated fixture, is you can get a lot more lumens out of a say an MR16 fixture, or a 3-inch diameter fixture or something like that, than you could out of a drop-in lamp. So far,
and is that mainly because they have better heat sinking?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If it's designed properly. Now, if you go off and, people don't do their job and they just pick up something off the street that's, light engine, we'll stick it on here and it'll work, then maybe not so much. But it takes an awful lot of work to get that marriage between the light engine and the light fixture itself to operate, to all of the thermal management, and run a great product, and then you will be able to produce more lumens. Downside on that is, the biggest thing is failures. What happens if you get a failure? Basically, you have to pull up that fixture, remake connections, and all of that, versus just dropping in another lamp, lightning strike surge or something like that. So that's certainly one part of it. And I think that, especially with a lot of our customers, are very, very discerning landscape lighting contractors, they're designers, installers, whatever. And, they'll want to tweak something. They'll want to tweak something from 7 watt to 5 watt, or maybe down to 1 watt, or maybe the color's just not right. And so they can tweak things that way, probably a lot easier than they could with an integrated fixture. So that would be the other thing. And then finally, I think what we're seeing in the industry is actually a lot more manufacturers switching back over to drop-ins rather than having integrated fixtures, just because of the failures that they've seen in the past.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen that. And it was like they thought it was going to be the way, and then there's like they couldn't figure it out or something. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to all of them, but it's kind of what it felt like.
But it's not just in landscape lighting. It's in lighting in general. Residential, decorative, outdoor, whatever, where somebody thought it was a good idea, and then they've gone back to standard drop-in bulbs.
Yeah, it's interesting because honestly, I talk to people, not every day, but I talk to people kind of on both sides that are like, oh no, it's only a matter of time till integrated is phased out, or it's only a matter of time till lamps are phased out. It's that's why I say it's the great debate, but I don't think there's that many people debating it. So actually, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to ask you. I've got a ton more, of course. I always have way more questions than time. But when we do come back, I want to ask you kind of about what's going on in the economy right now with supply chain and everything else. You've got some interesting data that you want to share. So let's do that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Sounds great.
Hey, this is Jeff Hesser, senior contributor and co-host of the Weekend Review here on Turfs Up Radio. Can't make it to major green industry events, but want to stay connected? Don't worry, we have you covered. Be sure to download the Turfs Up Radio app or visit our website. We'll bring you the live coverage you need to keep you up to date with everything that happens in our industry. And to find out where we'll be next, simply visit greenindustryevents.com. That's greenindustryevents.com. And always remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in that process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
Hey everybody, Wayne Vowles, the Prophet, your host of Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio. If you listen to my show, you know I'm all about profit. As an industry, profit is something we fail to meet most of the time. If you're working hard but not seeing the results that you deserve, Profits Unlimited is here to help. We offer processes and systems designed specifically to make your company more successful, more profitable, and certainly more efficient. When you're ready to take your company to the next level, reach out to me at profitsareus.com. That's profitsareus.com. And don't forget to turn into Profit Time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m.
Welcome back to Lighting for Profits, presented by Emery Allen on Turfs Up Radio. Guys, we are trying something. I mean, it's not only is it new because we have a live guest, but now Tom wants me to do the screen sharing thing. And I'm like, okay, I know I can do this, but I don't know that I can do it because I always mess up at least once or twice each show. So this is it. Like I've got it's sharing right now. Will it go according to plan? Probably not. So we'll try to figure this out. So one thing I want to talk to you about is, well, actually, before let me say this. You know, there's some people out there that have the mentality. It's like, you know, it just doesn't matter what you buy because it's all the same. I mean, it all comes from China. It's all the same quality, whatever, right? But how much of it after you buy something? I mean, you know, you're making these lamps, but it's not just the LED. It's not just one thing. It's all that together. How much of it is the total engineering package that comes into play when we're talking quality here?
It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. I mean, you know, at Emery Allen, but it didn't matter if I was there or at Quazell or whatever. One of the things that, you know, I always made it a point to do, maybe just because, you know, just an obsession of mine is, you know, I would not just go over there and look at the final product. I wanted to know each component that was going into something. Even, you know, when we had painted or plated product, I want to go to the plating factory. I want to go to the painting factory, what type of material they're using and all of this, and always asking the questions why. And the same thing with our products is, you know, there's a lot that goes into making LEDs and chips and packaging and all of that. And I'm talking about the LED packaging. No, we're in there all the time asking why, what's going on and all that. And that's all so important.
Yeah, I know. I hear that because I hear people doing that. I'm like, man, I don't think, it it's much more than just an LED diode, and I think a lot of people think it's like, it's all coming from China, it's like, I don't think so. I think there's a lot more that goes into it
There's
than that.
a lot more that goes into it.
So one of the things that we're all we hear, like, I was at the Christmas light show and they're talking about how container prices are from 5,000 to 30,000 now or something. I mean, just crazy stuff that's happening in the world supply chain. Let's talk about that for a minute. Why should we be concerned about it? What is going on, and what are you guys doing to help people out?
Well, it's all about your lighting for profits, right? And increasing prices and whatnot. And wouldn't we all like to have that crystal ball to see, what's going on and, what can we do to combat certain things and all of that? So, listen, one of the things that happened to us back in January of 2020, well, we'll talk about three major factors. We got tariffs, we got electrical components, and we've got transportation. All of those three things are major factors that attribute to the increased price that we're going to be faced with in the future. The first thing was tariffs. January 2020, most products coming from China receive some type of a increased tariff. Lighting products in general, and I'll just say that in general, received a 25% additional tariff. That's additional tariff. So if they were already paying 6%, so let's just say that brass accent light or whatever, and maybe at first cost it's $10. So they were paying 60 cents on that in the past. Now they're paying 31%. 31%.
Yeah.
So that's $3.10 in tariffs, just in tariffs. So that's not going to go away. There's nothing you can do to control that or anything like that. It's here to stay as long as the government wants to continue to collect tariffs on them. Then the next thing is electrical components. What's going on in the world with electrical components? So I think a lot of this is COVID related across the world, as maybe there were some people that were making the electrical components and some of the raw material of the electrical components shut down things because they thought, okay, we don't have to mine this material. We don't need to do this or do that. And totally the opposite happened. People started working from home. What are they doing? They're buying new computers.
Demand goes through the roof. And they thought it was going to be the opposite.
It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. So the next couple of slides, this is from a company called Future Electronics. They're one of the largest distributors of electrical components in the world. And you can find all of this on Future Electronics website. So there's nothing, secret here or anything. But what this shows is this gives a market trend of what's going on this product and many other products. But you have three things right here. You have the trend, what the price is going to be, and what the current lead time is. So the current lead time on some of these components have gone up to 52 weeks. How do you plan things out 52 weeks? And if you don't plan things out now, you're probably going to be behind the eight ball. I mean, all of this is from different types of resistors, the capacitors, to integrated chips and all of that. And then it says here, so what's the trend? The trend is either it's going to be flat, they don't see any difference, or the trend is going to be going up, meaning the lead time is going to be going up from 52 weeks. And then the following thing is price, demand. It's just like everything else, supply and demand, is going to raise the prices of these components. And I've seen a lot of these components going up, 30, 50, 100% for all of these small little components. So where, let's just say a particular product had $4.50 worth of electrical components in them at one point, that's gone up to like $9. So that's at first cost then it goes to, the manufacturer. He's got his markup on it and everything. So you've got the cost of the tariffs. Now you got the cost of the electronics, the electrical components, if you can even get them. And then the final thing is transportation. And with the transportation thing, it shows here that, and this is based on the World Container Index. At one point, a 40-foot container was running about $1,800. And that's not including taxes and port charges and all that. That was just like raw costs. What it shows here is now how this has climbed up since August of 2019 to today. It shows here 370% higher right now than it was the same week in 2020. This is the 16th consecutive week of increases. So what does that mean? So let's just say to ship a product from China to the United States used to cost somewhere around, 91 cents to $4.28 a cubic foot. If you take that and you say, okay, you're not going to fill up a 20 or 40 foot container all the way. Let's just say that that's up to $4.76 a cubic foot. Okay. And I'd like to point out the little thing here about Maersk, who's one of the largest container ship lines. They earned $5.1 billion in second quarter and expects earnings of $18 to $19.5 billion for the year. So
these guys have been listening to me, telling raise your price.
Lighting for profits.
Sorry guys. Yeah. My bad.
So anyway, so that is just let's just say the quoted rate of a product. So you have a rate with a shipping line, and let's just say it's X amount of dollars. So then you want somebody to put your product on a container. You want us to deliver a container to your factory. Well, the spot quote for that right now, and I think you mentioned it, and according to some of these charts here are, it could be $10,000, $13,000. So what that means is, a $3,000 to $5,000 per container in premiums brings the total cubic foot price to $7.11. So at one point you were down to 90 cents.
Now it's over $7.
Now it's over $7. So what happens if the container price gets to $20,000 or $30,000? That takes it to $11 and $16 respectively.
So what are you guys doing about that? And what should we do as contractors, as lighting professionals? Like, what are we supposed to do?
I would just be aware of what's going on in the marketplace. If you can, it's just like the whole copper wire thing. If 6-9 months ago, everybody could have bought a year's worth of copper wire and all of that, they wouldn't be screaming about copper wire and what the crazy stuff is there. If you have the opportunity to pre-buy or buy ahead for the remainder of this year or even into next year, it could help your lighting profits, your lighting profitability, although it would be, it's going to take a little bit of capital to do so. But in the long run, I think you'll be saving that money.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm like a living testament of that. I remember, at first I was just like everyone else. I couldn't afford, to buy more than 4 rolls of wire at a time. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But eventually started raising my price and doing these things that I'm trying to get other people to do. And it was like, wow, we have money. Let's buy a pallet of wire. And literally just purchasing our wire like that in bulk, tens of thousands of dollars of savings each year.
Sure.
That wasn't even raised. We raised our price to get to that point to have the purchasing power. But honestly, that was just us using our purchasing power to save us money, and that's money again that can be put back and invested into the company and buy better product and do the red carpet, white glove service for your clients?
So, what I would do is I'd buy ahead as much as I possibly could of those types of items that that you're going to need and that you continuously use.
Okay. So what are you guys doing? Have you guys bought ahead? Are you guys running into shortages? Are you're good, or like where are you at right now?
We've bought ahead. We started at the beginning of the year and we kind of saw what was going on and bought ahead to a lot of the critical components that are out in the market. And so we'll be good for a while. How long do you take this? We're probably good until the middle of next year. And in talking to the people like Future Electronics, sitting down and asking them, what do they see? And it's all about capacity. It's all about building new fab manufacturing plants that can build some of the semiconductor materials or process some of the semiconductor materials. They're saying that they don't see an end to this until 2023.
Wow.
2023.
Well, we're hoping that guys like you that are in position to get product and make it and everything else are going to help the local lighting professionals out. And yeah, if you guys are listening, if you're watching, you've got to plan for these things. And again, I'm always preaching raise your price, but start raising your price now just to break even, right? Or break even on what you were already making. So, all right. So normally I cut you off, but we got more to talk about. So, I still have to squeeze in my lighting tip of the week. So I want you guys to stick around for that. And I've got a couple more questions that I want to ask Tom about. And we'll do that in just a couple minutes. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing in the vault with my friends and a tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Attention all pros. When you leave a deal with your clients, don't leave money on the table. Join Turf's Up Nation today and partner with pros all across the country who can help you make more money for services that are related to your project. Landscapers need plumbers, and pool installers need hardscapers, and every combination in between. Turf's Up Nation is free. Your information is secure, and you will be connected with other pros in the industry that want to do business with you. Not to mention property owners who need help with just about everything. If you think your clients don't need you and the connections you have, think again. Join turfsupnation.com today and start putting more money in your pocket for services you never knew you could. To sign up for this free service, go to turfsupnation.com.
Isn't it nice when the weather cooperates and crews complete jobs on time and on budget? But weather can cause delays. And with paper route sheets, jobs get lost in the shuffle. That's why you need Aspire Crew Control scheduling software, an easy-to-use, flexible, and affordable solution that allows you to shift schedules with a single click. Try Aspire Crew Control for free at aspirecrewcontrol.com.
All right. Such a cool experience to have a live guest in here. It's got me on my toes, I'm telling you. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits. And we've got about 10 minutes and I want to get to my lighting tip of the week. It's always an important part of the show, I feel like. But before we do that, I want to ask you a couple questions. One, what, in your opinion, I mean, the world's going through so much transformation and technology is accelerating and all these things, but what's going to happen to LED lighting? Like, what does the future of LED lighting look like?
I would think that, LED lighting, the quality of the chips and all of that is going to continue to get much better, more lumens per watt, be able to take, higher temperatures of heat and all of that. But this chip shortage right now, and what, the integrated chip, the status of that is going to probably slow that down a little bit. People are more concerned about getting the products they have rather than investing and researching a lot of the new stuff. But once they do, I think it's going to be continuously looking at, the overall quality of the LED chip, get as low of a binning status as possible with the LEDs so that, performing a much, much better performing light. That's where I see it going.
Okay, cool. And then I guess I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your podcast. I mean, if you were listening at the beginning, I told you how I found out about it, and that was way embarrassing. But it's different than my podcast for sure. It's like actually helpful and informational.
Well,
so what's it's called Light It Up, right?
Right. It's called Light It Up, and we started this more of an educational thing. I've been a member of the American Lighting Association as far as I can think back, and it's always about getting customers, consumers, end users, getting them to know more about the latest technology and all that. And those are the types of things that we cover, is the technology. We ask questions of our guests of what's going on. People from Hinckley Lighting, we've had people from the American Lighting Association, various other lighting companies, just to let us know kind of what's going on, some of the problems that they've seen. We've interviewed reps and let them know or ask them what the status of the lighting industry out in the field is. So we're a lot different. And I think we dig a lot deeper about some things, and have a cup of coffee with you because, it's the type of stuff that you could fall asleep on real easy. I think I joked to my wife once and I said, yeah, I was listening to this podcast and such a subject and I fell asleep. So, but it's very informational about some more techie things with lighting.
Yeah. I mean, you said it well, because it really is. There's such good information in there, but seriously, yeah, do some pixie sticks, a bunch of Mountain Dews, lattes, all that stuff, and then you'll be good to go. Because some of that stuff is hard to get through. It's important. It's just hard to get through. So,
sure.
All right. And then if people want to learn more about Emery Allen, what's the website?
EmeryAllen.com.
Makes sense.
Check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and one thing I'd like about the size of your company is you guys are still kind of that small. Like, I'm sure if someone wanted to get a hold of you guys and talk about the pros and cons. In fact, right, like 5 minutes before, he's on the phone with someone that had just emailed him and was answering questions and stuff. So I do like that. It's not like you're dealing with this huge company that's like, there was this Tom guy. How do I get a hold of him? Like, you guys can pretty much get a hold of him if you want to.
Yeah, we answer every phone call, email, whatever, and you can always get a hold of me if you want.
All right, cool. Man, I'm just not prepared. I was going to have the applause sound.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate you coming on. And
thank you.
I mean, the first guy to fly all the way out here to little old Orem, Utah to be here live with me in the studio. So thanks for being here live, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, cool. All right, guys. I'm going to just close out. We just got a few minutes left, and I'm going to close out on my lighting tip of the week. So I don't even know how to phrase the tip of the week, but it's basically this. There's a couple ways to view or to view a lighting business, in my opinion. There's one from like the design and install standpoint, and then there's like the business side, right? And for me, it's obvious it was about business. And that didn't mean that I didn't want to be good at design and install and have quality product and stuff like that. But it was just that I just wanted to build a business that could scale without me. Like I didn't want to have to be me doing everything, right? Something that I could sell or run remotely, just, have an actual business that wasn't like a paid hobby. And if you're a purist in design, then you're probably not listening now. You probably dropped out on episode 3 or something like that. But if you are listening, then it probably means that you're interested to scale your business at some degree. You may not want to sell it. You may not want to franchise it. That's totally acceptable. But you probably are here because you want to learn techniques, strategies, things that can help you scale your business. And so I guess my tip is this: learn what things are necessary and cut out the rest. In other words, simplify. Simplify your business, and I'm talking every aspect of your business. So, I'm talking like design. So, there's certain people that might look at a project that I do and be like, well, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that? And honestly, it might be because I didn't want to, because it was more simple to not have that. Right. So I tried to really simplify the business and just use, spotlights, downlights, path lights, wash lights, mini lights, and then maybe a custom light or two. But it wasn't like I had this catalog and I'm going to a house and I'm like, what are the 50 different options I can do here? I really tried to simplify, not only for myself, but for my install team, for future salespeople as I train them. And so your design, if you're going to go for Lighting Designer of the Year award, then, turn this off and put on, don't listen. But if you're going to go for scale my business mode, one of the easiest ways to do is simplify your designs. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't have a badass design. Like, our customers loved their designs, right? But it does mean that you can start to kind of simplify your design process. It even goes to your sales process. So a lot of people, this is a major problem. A lot of people overcomplicate their sales process by doing a lot of different things wrong. But they get in there and they've got their spreadsheet with their algorithm and this and that, and trying to figure out their costs so that they can do their multiplier and figure out their price. And then they want to do these renderings and then bring this fixture and show what that would look like and this and that. And sometimes it's 3-4 meetings, and then there's follow-up and everything else. And it's like, wow, that was a lot, which if you're doing that and you're charging accordingly, then that's fine. But the problem is you're not charging accordingly, right? And so really simplify the sales process. People want to know, they want to know how much the stuff's going to cost, but they want to know about your company. They want to know about you. They need to know, like, and trust you. If they know and like and trust you, which is very easy, it's not as complicated as you guys are making it, then they're going to buy from you. They're going to find a way to buy from you, even if you're higher priced, because they know you, they like you, they trust you. So just talk about your company, talk about the install for a minute, talk about the fixtures for a minute, and close the deal. Like, get out of there, right? That's how simple it needs to be for your sales process. And then really your installation process is the same thing. Like, you need to invest in better equipment that's going to work, right? You're even wire. Like, there's discussion in the Facebook groups about wire. Like, I promise you're going to be better off paying more for better wire. It takes way less time to separate that wire and strip it than it does the cheaper wire that just doesn't work as good. So come up with better systems, checklists, easier things to help your design, your sales, your install that much more efficient, that much more simple. And then finally, simplify your business strategy. Okay. And really what you need to do is ask yourself, who's your replacement? Like, who is going to replace me? And it's kind of a trick question, because it's not just one person. It's a team of like 6 to 7 people. Like, right now, I'm probably doing the work too. And by the way, I'm in the process of replacing myself already into my business, but I'm probably doing the work of 6 to 7 people trying to do all this stuff. And we don't do anything really well when we're doing that many different things. So find out who your replacement is going to be. And it's probably going to be 6 to 7 people to replace what you are doing right now. So that is my lighting tip of the week. Simplify, simplify, simplify. And I promise you, you are going to be much more successful. Get out of your own head and start to do the things that you know you should already be doing. So, yeah, I think that's it. So I got your mic back on. Thanks for being here, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
This has been totally awesome, because it's the first time ever. It might be the last.
I'll be back here.
Okay, good to know. I called lamps bulbs within the first 5 seconds, so I didn't know if we were tearing up that contract or what. But
I don't know what to call it other than what did Thomas Edison invent?
Yeah, the light lamp. Oh, the light bulb. All right. Well, guys, listen, that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I want to thank Tom Garber for being here live with me here in the studio. And I want to thank Emery Allen for your partnership. And guys, go check them out at emeryallen.com. Want to encourage you guys to keep working on your business every single day, every single week. And we'll see you guys next time.